We have already seen the life of Rosalind Franklin through the eyes of her friend Anne Piper. How Rosalind has spent very productive years in Paris, and how Anne Piper and Rosalind joined for holidays. This is what we have already seen. Here it is about her life at King's College, London. From Paris, she shifted to London. You know that she had a very fruitful career at Paris, but since she was not a French citizen, she was not able to expect a permanent job. That's why she shifted to London. See here, her research was on um, her research was expanding, and it was about application of X-ray diffraction in the study of structure of DNA is what she was exploring at the King's College. But she did not have good memorable days at the King's, because when she arrived there she was shocked to know that women were excluded from the senior common room. The SCR is a social and professional space for her colleagues, but there women were not allowed, they were prohibited. So she was wonderstruck about that, because she was not accepted there because she's a woman. And this exclusion, it created frustration in her, and she was not able to contribute much because women were not taken very seriously there. This made her very defensive, and she was a rough and tough person to her colleagues. She was appointed by Sir John Randall. She was appointed by him, but her role was not clear. It was ambiguous. She thought that she can set up her own research task, and she can lead her own X-ray diffraction unit with the autonomy to pursue her research interest. But Morris Wilkins was the second in command, who was already working on DNA. He was on vacation, so he was not aware about her appointment. So this created misunderstanding between their responsibilities and the boundaries on their work. And it resulted in the conflict between Morris Wilkins and Franklin. When Wilkins came, he found that Mr. Raymond Gosling was assisting Rosalind. It was Wilkins who was supervising Raymond Gosling before he left for the vacation. But when he returned, he found he is being supervised by Rosalind. So here, Rosalind and Wilkins start building a very unhealthy relation. It was strained relation and full of competition. There was we have already seen there was miscommunication between them, and it created tension. There was lack of clear communication about their role, and these issues were really discussed by Jim Watson in his book The Double Helix. It was in this that we come to know the contribution of Rosalind, and he reflects on the energy and time lost due to this miscommunication, and how it hindered, how it prevented their progress on the DNA research. Because of these frustration and unhealthy relations at the workplace, she was not able to focus on her work. But she was feeling marginalized, but she retreated into her work, and she always was seen as an unapproachable lady. Her exclusion from SCR and the other challenges made her feel so isolated, and she was not ready to interact with the colleagues. Timing and scientific contest. See, despite the issues she had at the workplace, she returned to England and she continued her research on DNA with other scientists, because she understood that it's very important to find the structure of DNA, because it is going to lead new path to the studies. What was her finding? She focused on X-ray diffraction, and she was studying DNA's A form and B form. A form is, it was the primary finding. It was B form that is considered as traditional, and it is very popular form. Okay, because A form is not in a natural atmosphere. It is when DNA is in a dehydrated form. So B form is usually accepted by them. So she was working on both, and she was doing mathematical analysis to interpret that diffraction pattern. And she discovered that DNA has the helical structure, the helical structure, by making use of the evidence she had on the double helix. So here it is given, it is called photo 51. This is the B form of DNA which she discovered, which speaks about the double helix model of DNA. Uh, Later, she communicated her finding with her colleagues. It was as a part of her assignment that she communicated it with her colleagues. In 1953, she shared this photo with Morris Wilkins. But he was not aware that later this picture will be shown to James Watson. James Watson was working on the same, and he was working on a publishing. So she never expected that her picture will be shared with James Watson. He was working on that with Francis Crick, and the photo they got from Wilkins was used to confirm double helix model without her knowledge. So her discovery was used by them without her knowledge. And this grew again disagreement and misunderstanding between them. There was tension at King's College because Rosalind was unaware that her photo was used by Francis Crick and Watson in their book The Double Helix. I mean the paper they were working on, through Morris Wilkins without the knowledge of Rosalind. And this photo shared without her consent created further strain. She was not ready to support her rival researchers. They were rivals because the friction they had, because she was a woman and she was not accepted by them. And in the final paper, Rosalind's final paper at King's College, which was dated March 17, 1953, asserted her belief that DNA was a helical structure with two chains. But by that time, Walton and Crick had already arrived at the same conclusion using the techniques that were proposed by Rosalind. And Rosalind's meticulous X-ray work on DNA A form and B form underpinned the discovery of double helix, although she did not receive any immediate recognition for her significant role. She played a very significant role in finding the structure of DNA, but which was known to the world only later. She shifted to Birkbeck College. She left King's and she got a new position at Birkbeck College in London. She was under the leadership of Professor J.D. Bernal. Bernal was a very respected scientist, and he was in support of women in science, and he was enthusiastic for the advancement, made him an encouraging mentor for Franklin. Unlike King's, she felt an inclusiveness at Birkbeck under the leadership of J.D. Bernal. And there she started focusing on tobacco mosaic virus. You would have studied in your science classes. She continued supporting Bernal and she started working on that. It's a plant virus that infects tobacco plants, and it serves as a valuable model in virology. She was very much passionate about it, and she started dedicating to it with enthusiasm. While she was working there, she was occupying a very small and attic-like lab, but still she was very glad to work there. The X-ray camera she used for her research was located in a semi-basement. Even there was limitation, she was very much glad to work there because there was a positive relation with her colleagues. And during her 4.5 years at Birkbeck, she published 17 papers. Even she was under terminal illness. She was dying, even though she was not feeling well, she was able to contribute much to the world of science. Later, she became a partner of Aaron Clark, who joined Birkbeck later. And they collaborated for their research work, and she published many papers during that years. And after her passing, when she passed away, when she died, Clark continued her work on virus structure and took over the leadership of research group. See, she didn't stop. Even she died at a very young age. She was keeping on contributing to the world of science. Her health got deteriorated. It was getting worse and worse, and she remained generous and thoughtful. In 1957, despite knowing her illness was terminal, she took her friend and the friend's children, who is that friend? Ann Piper, and her children for a picnic, bringing them dry eyes because it made the children enjoy. Her character was marked by kindness and consideration, especially towards his children. Now, after her passing, she passed away in 1958 April, and she was remembered for her courage and her contribution and her determination. In 1962, Nobel Prize for Medicine or Physiology was given to Francis Crick, James Watson, and Maurice Wilkins. You remember them? For their work in discovering the structure of DNA, but whose name should have been here? Rosalind Franklin, but it is missing. Why? Because Nobel Prize can't be given to someone who is not alive. It cannot be awarded posthumously. Okay, so her name was not included here. They combined data from chemistry, physics, biology using Watson and Crick's model building approach, which aligned with evidence from Wilkins' X-ray images. Even though they were final in their discovery, Rosalind's findings and giving double assurance about the structure was very significant. Rosalind's absence from Nobel Prize, we have already seen why she was not included in the list. It is very unfortunate that she was not able to get the recognition during her lifetime. Even though Rosalind was not recognized by her people of her time, though she was not able to be recognized with the Nobel Prize, there is a plaque kept honoring her. A plaque you can see here, a blue plaque on which tribute to her is written. DNA, who all contributed to it, is being mentioned here, and it is kept in her place. In her former flat on the Fulham Road in London, and also at King's College, London. Remembering her name along with Crick, Watson, and Wilkins. She is why she is very important, because she lived in a time when women were not accepted, but she contributed much to the molecular biology. Where do we know more about Rosalind Franklin and her contribution apart from Ann Piper? It is from the book The Double Helix, written by Watson. In the epilogue means, you might have observed at the end of the book there will be an epilogue, a prologue in the beginning and an epilogue towards the end. In that, he offers a posthumous means after death, the reflection on Rosalind Franklin, setting a more respectable tone regarding her contribution. During her lifetime, they did not recognize her. Okay, but after her death, he contributes her worth. I mean, her contributions to the world of science. How his impressions about Franklin were wrong in the beginning is what he has mentioned. He has also highlighted two major contributions by her in the book, in the epilogue. First is her X-ray diffraction that led to the discovery of A and B forms of DNA, and her precision in using Patterson superposition technique. Patterson superposition technique means it's a technique used to spot the location of atom in a molecule. So it was she who founded that it is the phosphate group that forms the vital part of DNA molecule. That finding has really helped and guided Watson and Crick model of DNA. And her research on tobacco mosaic virus is also mentioned in his epilogue, because after she moved out of King's and settled in Birkbeck College, she continued her work on tobacco mosaic virus, and she contributed in the understanding of the structure. Watson also reflects her character, her honesty, her courage and integrity. He also acknowledges unique challenges she faced because she lived in a male-dominated scientific field, and he also regrets that it took many years for him and his people to appreciate her determination and the obstacles she overcame to be taken seriously. He also recognizes that Franklin worked at a very high level of scientific excellence even before her passing. She was not ready to give up, though she was at the face of terminal illness. So this is belated acknowledgement, because she is no more. Still, the book serves as a tribute to her, his colleague. So that is the end of the chapter Light on a Dark Lady by Anne Piper. Thank you.